Hello and welcome to the Pilot's Podblast. I'm Dave and I watched The Winter King Episode 8. Hello, we start today with something that's been a long time coming.
I was just in the middle of undressing.
Oh, well, don't let me stop you, Mary.
Yes, the obligatory sex scene with boob. Obviously no realism, it's a TV show, so no popping the toilet, wiping yourself or anything like that. Now listen, I'm not being all British when I say this, but I'm not really into sex scenes in a show unless it furthers the plot. I mean, we saw Arthur last week giving Guinevere a shocker in the stables, so I think we know what they're going to be up to. I just feel if you want to watch softcore porn, then go and watch softcore porn. You don't have to put it in a TV episode for no apparent reason. You're sitting there watching it, having your dinner with your family, and all that starts happening. It's like, well, where do you look? I know that Bernard Cornwell is with me on this because when you read the books, any of his books, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but he'll tend to just write, and then they had sex, and then they went to bed, and then they lay down. And we know what they're going to do because we know what it is. There's a time and place, I think, for watching others, and it's not then. It gives me the feeling that someone wanted to do it. Do you know what I mean? So a director has said, well, we've paid an actor for boob, and so boob we're going to get. And speaking of Bernard Cornwell, the difference between a TV production and his books is made so clear in this scene. Just have a look at the set. It's very clean, very tidy. It's very romantically lit. There's a row of perfect candles on the back of the bedstead, and presumably they've been going all night, so they've had soft lighting. They've not come down or anything, but there you go. There's a couple of fruit baskets in there, like they've had an upgrade of a hotel room, which is quite nice. I suppose just off set, there's probably a couple of towels shaped into swans that have been strewn on the floor. So after not wiping or anything, Arthur stands up, puts his kecks on, just as his sister comes through the door with urgent news. It becomes apparent that they've been hiding away for about a week with only fruit bowls and their own juices to survive on. The director at this point decides that what Winter King needs is a little bit of levity, a little bit of comedy. So him and whoever's in charge of the music, who does a nice little comedic doom, 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 and everyone smiles, with Morgan showing the disgust on her face that probably comes with smelling whatever's been going on in that room for a week without the windows open. It's pretty cold. Very, very strange. Now, I don't want to just pile on the show with in the book, but I do that a lot, don't I? Especially because this was, it was a good episode, and it diverts away from the book almost all the way through, and especially at the end, obviously. But tonally, this has no place here, and it misses the beats of the story so far. So what happens now is a lot of movement of plot to try and catch up with where the book's at. In the book, it's a massive upheaval. The peace and stability is over, and a civil war starts. It's a device then used by Bernard Cornwell to move everything along by a few years, and we go back to Derfel, who's now a seasoned warrior. With only a couple of episodes left, I'm guessing they're going to play out the war, and then end episode 10 with the introduction of Galahad and Lancelot. Lancelot giving, a little wink and a nod to Guinevere. For those who have and haven't read the book, we all know that story. Season 2, fingers crossed, will be the second half of The Winter King. Now, Cadwis visits court. He does that because the script needs Arthur to not be around for a little bit. Cadwis has his motivation change and decides to pull The Mouse That Roared. Great film. You should watch it straight after this. We then get to witness Guinevere Lady Macbething all over the shop. First, charming Cadwis, with no real result. Then Morgan with a full-on threat of "you're either with me or against me," even though Arthur and Morgan, they really do love each other. It's a great relationship that they've got. Again, the audience needs to see the cut of her jib. So the writing just lays it on really thick and fast, rushing the character development. So it looks like an about turn of her motivation for the viewer. Derfel and Nimue then set up what Nimue and almost Bishop Sampson are going to be up to for the rest of the episode by talking about how dangerous he is. And what this episode does is it shows what a great actor we've got playing Samson. He should have been a main character from the beginning because, like a few of the actors in this, he excels in the stuff that he's delivering. Samson gets permission to build his church, and of course he decides to build it right next to the Tor, and we get the mention of the Holy Vine there for a sec. So Nimue and Samson, it becomes very visual representation of the fight that we should have been feeling all the way through, of the new gods and the old gods fighting through their earthbound representatives. Hearing that Arthur has given permission to the Christians to build a church on a strip of land right next to the Tor, you know, Arthur, who just wants peace in Britain, saying, yeah, just build a semi-detached against the Tor, you know, in the final seat of paganism in Britain. That sounds like a really good plan. It's weird. Nimue talks to the gods, and they deliver onto the Christians.
Coronavirus!
I'm being a bit glib there, I know, because the TV show has gone through great lengths to show that the gods are real, that magic is real, and then they've just done the old switcheroo, and it's just Nimue slipping them some heroin. Samson and his followers, who incidentally are a greater number than Arthur's army, they get all with Arthur safely out the way for no real good reason. Bedwin sends word that Gorfith will happily accept a big pile of cash for Arthur's transgressions, and so Morgan decides to go and take it herself because she doesn't want to insult him. I suppose that's just television. When you need a character to be a bit stupid, then it happens. So off she goes with Derfel, who we believe must be a warrior now because we saw him practicing earlier with Arthur. Now, when Morgan and Derfel arrive at Powers, they say hello to Bedwin, and then they agree to stop for dinner and entertainment. All the while, Gorford is given the biggest "you're in so much trouble that I can't contain my rage and I can't believe I'm getting away with it" vibes. Even Derfel, his eyes rolling about in suspicion, you know, from page 1 of the RADA, "This is how you act" manual. Again, Morgan needs to suddenly not be able to read a room, or see that Gorford is obviously cooking something up. All this is obviously a big departure from the books. And what it does is it gives the writers their own shocking moment to deliver. And it's good. There's amoeba on Saturn that knew that Bedwin was going to be in some sort of trouble. But to full on crucify him, that's decent. Morgan, Gorford and Bedwin all acting brilliantly in this scene. The music is music, using the trope of a heartbeat sound so that we can hear Bedouin die subconsciously. So what's Arthur been up to during this? He takes his 8 men to the Duchy of Grand Fenwick and kills Cadwis, like he didn't kill Gondlius, for peace and what have you. Cadwis dead. This scene suffers for many reasons. There's more extras in the dancing episode that we just had. Plus, they were choreographed. So we don't have two armies meet by any stretch of the imagination. The extras are not given any kind of direction. They're just standing there. They couldn't even afford to get them to cheer for their respective champion like they would. But budgetary constraints, I know. What I'm saying is that what you need is a director that's more used to a limited budget. If you look at what Terry Jones and Terry Gilliam did with the Holy Grail, kids in knitted armour, not only being able to use one castle because the Scottish Trust pulled out at the last minute. There's ways and means. Star Wars, George Lucas, my goodness, mate, look what he achieved. So Arthur gets back and he takes a long overdue bath. And Guinevere reassures Arthur that Cadwis's death was for the greater good.
All about the greater good.
And then she tells him what's been going on while he's been away. He reluctantly agrees that Morgan can probably look after herself, and goes off to go and sort out the religious war he provided the background for, rather than panic and go and save his sister. After talking to Samson and Nimue, it's laid out by both that they cannot coexist, and Nimue, being Nimue, decides to admit that she poisoned the Christians, which I suppose is going to book her a lovely cave on the Isle of the Dead, which is the only reason I can think that Derval is with Morgan. So he's out of the way so that she can be sent off there. And with Nimue and Merlin gone, it means that Samson will have that church up in a shot. And Derval served no purpose in this episode. The only thing they gave him was his belated 20-second chat with Kywin. They needed Arthur out the way, so they gave him something to do, and they needed Derval out the way. But if he hadn't been in this episode, I don't think we would have noticed. In summary, skin deep, this episode is a good episode. But in order for the writers to have the crucifix scene, 4 characters had to be temporarily stupid. The characters and the beats suffered because of the payoff. I continue to look forward to the next episode. But if the show gets a second series, and I hope it does, I'd consider different writers. Writers more used to writing a story arc over an entire series rather than making everything happen all together in little bits, and so changing characters very, very quickly. I'd consider a different director, someone new, fresh, young, someone just out of college who is directing music videos on a low budget. Someone brings something fresh and exciting and not just copy cinematic tropes, and it cost a lot of money. And maybe someone else to do the music. Someone who can work with the director, get a theme for the particular episode, and have that run through the entire episode so the music's more tied in with it, because the music can sometimes feel completely out of place to what's going on. But mind you, some of the scenes can feel that as well. And as for Derval, maybe a change of director will address the elephant in the room. But if not, maybe use the advancement in time between the two series to recast. Right, mixed bag. Always is, isn't it? Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you next week. Bye for now. If you hang around after the titles, I'm just putting up 3 free 1-minute videos of me playing Diablo 4 on Xbox, because I was just trying out a new wizard with the vampiric powers that are going on at the moment, and she's just slaughtering everything. I'm quite proud of her. So yeah, watch that if you want to. I'll see you later. Bye bye.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I need time to prepare that. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.